Guess who's back, bitch?
Hi guys, welcome back to my booktube channel. My name is Tola and you're watching Tea Time with T Reads.
Maybe I'll read a book, or maybe two or three. I'll add a few more paintings to my gallery. I'll play guitar and knit and cook and basically just wonder when will my life begin. Maybe I'll read a book, or maybe 17. I'll add a few more paintings to my gallery. Play guitar and knit and cook and basically just wonder when will my life begin.
So hi guys, welcome back to my booktube channel. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if this is your first time here, you're most definitely welcome into my inner circle. So as you can see by the title of today's video, I'm going to be speaking about race and racism on booktube and beyond in the real world, where some of you seem to have forgotten that we actually live. I just want to give two quick disclaimers before I get into the video. So firstly, I said this in the first episode of Tea Time with Tola, let's discuss black narratives on YA, which I will link down below if anyone's interested. But I am not the spokesperson for all black people. They did not nominate me as their prime minister. I am not the president. I do not speak for all black people. Some of the approaches that I agree with and that I'm going to discuss in this video, other black people may not agree with them, and that's totally okay. Like I said, they didn't nominate to speak with me. While some people may agree with everything I say in this video, or some things I say in this video, other people may not. Other black people may be like, actually no, I don't agree with that, and that's fine. So all I ask is that you please don't come and use what I said in this video to now go and wave around and say, yeah, this is what black people believe, or this is the stance that all black people have taken, because that's false. So please don't come and do that. And number two, the large influx of new subscribers. So hi, thank you for subscribing. Obviously the amount I'm talking about affects me greatly and very deeply, and it's very hurtful, so I'm not as happy as I could be, but I am grateful for the new subscribers, and I hope you stick around to watch some of the content I'm going to create. However, I must say that a big reason that I've got a lot of these subscribers is because obviously of all the events that have been occurring, which I'm going to discuss in these videos, and people want to come and support black booktubers, which I'm all for. However, your support didn't end when you clicked the subscriber button. If you know you've just subscribed and you thought, yeah, whew, job done, you're never gonna watch any of my videos again, I don't know why you're here, because your support doesn't end there. Your job is, if you're a true ally, your job is to boost black voices, boost black content, you know, and watch and support, truly support. So if you know you're never gonna click one of my videos again, I just want you to think about if you're really doing what you think you're doing. Secondly, I'm obviously speaking about racism. If you know that you cannot, first of all, if you're watching this, leave your white privilege at the door. I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not going to mince my word here. My ancestors fought for years and years so I can sit down here and speak freely, and I'm not going to come and censor my words just to make white people comfortable. If you know you can't leave your white privilege at the door, and you can't sit down and be uncomfortable for like 30 minutes whilst I've been uncomfortable for 20 years, first of all, white privilege, you're not the ally you think you are, and that's really sad, isn't it? Sit down, put your privilege aside and listen. This isn't about you. It's your job. All you need to do is listen and boost our voices. If you know this is going to make you truly uncomfortable and you know you can't listen to it, then unsubscribe from now, because I'm not going to censor my words. I'm going to be discussing some of the events that have occurred. So I think it's been a week now. An African-American man, so a black man by the name of George Floyd, was murdered by a police officer by the name of Derek Chauvin. So George Floyd was apprehended as he was accused of using a fake $20 bill, a counterfeit bill, to pay for his groceries or something at the market. So he was arrested, and the main arresting officer, so there was 4 officers in total, but the main guy, the murderer Derek Chauvin, he proceeded, as he was arresting him, because he was resisting, he proceeded to place his knee on George's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And his justification for this act, like I said, was because George was allegedly resisting arrest. However, there was a lot of bystanders recording the event. They were witnessing the event, and there's also been security footage from the surrounding area. This occurred in Minneapolis, I believe, and Minneapolis, I know I probably mispronounced that, sorry, I'm not American, has actually revealed that George was not resisting arrest. He was actually complying with the police officers completely. So why Derek was now compelled to chuck George down and leave his knee on George's neck, blocking his airways, blocking his oxygen for 8 minutes 46 seconds, we don't know. For 2 minutes and 53 seconds of that 8 minutes 46 seconds, George was unresponsive, and Derek still proceeded to have his knee on George's neck. Sadly and unfortunately, George passed away. No, George was murdered and he died. My condolences to George's family, and may George rest in peace, rest in power. So anyway, that happened. And as a result, for the past week or so, there has been an outbreak all over the United States of America of protest and looting and riots, and it's basically like a civil war. It's literally like a race war has begun. It's the police versus all these protesters and rioters, but 8 times out of 10, all the footage I've seen, it's actually the police that start these riots, and then obviously propaganda, so the news take it and twist it and turn it into a thing as if, the protesters started it. But we're going to pause on that for a second, because I also want to talk about another case that happened, I think, just a few days before George's. So there was a black man, another African American man by the name of Christian Cooper. And Christian Cooper, he is a bird watcher, and he was in a park one day just watching his birds, chilling, having a great time. And in this particular park, you were not allowed to bring dogs. I don't think you're allowed to walk dogs in that area for whatever reason. There was a white woman by the name of Amy Cooper, and she was walking her dog or whatever. So I believe Christian has now told her, hi, you're not actually allowed to walk dogs here. And there's a visible sign, go and look for the video, there's a visible sign that actually says dogs are not allowed on this path or whatever, right? And so they've got into an argument now, and she's actually come up in his face and stuff, and he's like please move away from me, especially because we're in a pandemic, like why are you near me, like ew. Amy proceeds to call the police, and she goes to the police, could you send an officer, I need a police officer, like there is a man, an African American man, and he's attacking me. Christian did not go near her this whole time, he was just recording her. Like this man genuinely, she was the one that was coming up in his face, The reason I wanted to mention Christian's case as well as George's is because both of these cases demonstrate white privilege. Let me talk about why. So Amy, the first thing I immediately noticed while watching the video is that Amy was weaponizing her white tears, her white woman tears, to garner sympathy for the police, because as we all know, the system regards the life of a fragile white woman, the life of white women period, as important than the life of a black man, any black person to be honest, but in this case it was a black man, so I would say a black man. And she knew that if she called the police and said there's an African American man attacking me, they will all run to her aid, because it's always the white person that's a victim, it's never the black person that's a victim, right? No, it's never us, it's always the white people that need the help, that are being attacked unprovoked. He started attacking you in the park, come on now, let's be realistic. She knew she was a white woman, she knew if she weaponized her tears that the outcome would be in her favor. That's why she did it. If you go and watch the video, there is no way you can tell me that she did not know exactly what she was doing, because she did know exactly what she was doing. She knows how the system operates, and she knew that she could wean it to her advantage, and that's what she did. It's unfortunate for her, but fortunate for Christian and all of us that there was footage, we could clearly see nobody was attacking you, you're wasting police time, and you're a bloody liar because you're bloody racist. So she since lost her job. I hope she never finds another job again, because that's what you get for being a racist piece of shit. I don't care, I'm sorry, there's no sympathy for you at all, because you knew what you were doing. Then obviously with Derek, I don't know if this is true or not, I'm going to research when I'm editing and see, but Derek actually has I know this one is true. He has a history of using excessive use of force and violence when making arrests, and I believe he has also killed another black person on duty before, upon apprehending them. I just need to fact check those, and I will obviously tell you guys if that is correct. So if this is correct, he's clearly gotten away with things like this before, and there were obviously no dire consequences for him because he still works for the police, he still works on the force. So he knew, if this happens, nothing's gonna happen to me, it's fine, like, because my superiors don't care about the life of a black man. They don't regard it as important. They don't care about the lives of a black man. Even if what I just said now wasn't true, which I'm pretty sure it is, like I said, I'll fact check it. He knows, number one, he's a white male. He's arresting a black male. Number two, he works for the police force. You know, he was just doing his job. He knows there have been several cases of white police officers killing black men, and the consequences weren't even dire. Some of them didn't even face consequences. He's probably thinking, oh, I might get a little suspension to appease the public, and then they'll put me back on the force. You know, he's thinking there's not going to be any consequences. The only reason he was even fired the next day, and the other 3 officers were fired as well, and he has now been charged with 3rd-degree murder, which to me was the incorrect thing to be charged with, because you can't tell me that putting your knee on someone's neck for 8 minutes 46 seconds is an accident. But whatever. The only reason that happened is because there was so many eyewitnesses. The case went, like, the video went viral. We all saw what happened. We all saw that George wasn't resisting arrest, and they knew there wasn't consequences for this police officer. Then yeah, they were going to be in some serious shit. Either way, they're now in some serious shit, because people have been protesting. They're not letting this issue die, which I'm so pleased with. That is literally the only reason that he was apprehended. Do not get it twisted. If George was resisting even just a little bit, even just a little, best believe the consequences we have now are not the consequences we would have had. And the way everyone, all the police officers and the government would be, well, the US government would be trying to spin this right now, would be so mad. There would be no justice. The responses I saw in regards to these 2 cases was honestly so ignorant and sad, because I was not surprised, like, at all. Like, it was really unsurprising. First, I want to talk about Christian Cooper's case in regards to that witch, Amy Cooper, because I was seeing a lot of stuff and I didn't like the narrative that was being perpetuated. So when it was revealed what Christian looks like, he is not what you would think a stereotypical black man would look like. Like, he's not intimidating. He's just like, he looks like a very cool, calm guy. I mean, he goes bird watching. Like, oh my gosh, what black man do you know that has a hobby like that? He goes bird watching. I'm being sarcastic if you didn't catch that. Very eloquent. He's very well spoken, very articulate. He's just, his personality is just very, like I said, he's a very chill guy. His demeanor is very cool. If you go and watch the video, you'll see what I'm talking about. Some of the responses, I will try and find the tweets and plaster them all over the screen, were ridiculous. White women were saying, I don't know what, like, is wrong with Amy Cooper. Like, if I was her, I wouldn't be calling the police on him. I would be trying to get his number. You think that your fetishization and your sexualization of a black man in regards to a case concerning racism, you didn't do what you thought you did, love. And I'm here to tell you, you didn't do what you thought you did. That's fucking ridiculous. Like, what kind of response is that? Other people were saying, like, as soon as you see him, you just know he's not someone capable of what Amy was accusing him of. So what, you're trying to say that if he wasn't as well spoken, or if he looked a bit different, if he had big muscles and he was very tall and he looked intimidating, because stereotypically that's how the world sees black men, as these intimidating looking guys, he would be capable of saying what Amy was, he would be capable of doing what Amy was accusing him of. That is in itself, that is actually racist. That's very racist. Like I said, it's not the compliment that you think it is. Like, oh my gosh. So from all those tweets I was seeing and all those things I was reading, it was like kind of inferring that, not kind of, whether they knew or not, it was inferring that he was a certain type of black, and that kind of black person doesn't do what Amy was accusing him of doing, of attacking her, because he's obviously very well educated, he's well spoken. I mean, he goes bird watching, guys. Like, oh my gosh, he is a model citizen. What the hell? Just because he doesn't look intimidating, how stereotypically black men are perceived to be, just because he has this, you know, hobby, this white hobby, shall I say. Not to say that black people can't do them, that's not what I mean by white hobby. When I say white hobby, I mean a hobby that it's mainly white people that have them. So just because he has this white hobby and he is well spoken doesn't mean that he didn't deserve what happened. He didn't deserve what happened because it was a lie, and it was wrong, and it was racist, and that should apply no matter who it was, no matter how the person looks, no matter how they speak, no matter what hobbies they have. That's why it was wrong. In regard to George's case, I saw some disgusting things in regards to people trying to justify the police officers' actions. And please, if you honestly think there is a way to justify Derek putting his knee on George's neck for 8 minutes 46 seconds, please comment down below and tell me the justification, because I think you've lost your dim, mate. That's what I think, because there's absolutely no way you can justify that. There is no need for somebody that is not resisting arrest to be apprehended in that manner. Even if he was resisting arrest, which he was not, I must emphasize again, he was not resisting arrest. But humor me, let's say he was resisting arrest. You don't need to have your knee on someone's neck for that long. No. And there was 3 other police officers. Even if he was resisting, which he was not, I must emphasize again, please don't go and misquote me anywhere, George Floyd did not resist arrest. But if he was, please listen very closely to the words I'm having. I don't want anything I'm saying to be misconstrued. If he was, there was 3 other officers on scene. Surely there would have been a way to subdue him without the use of such excessive force. Come on now. This is an officer that, like I said, he's notorious for using excessive amounts of force and violence in his arrests. There's no need. He clearly gets off on killing black people. There's no justification for that. If you honestly think you can justify that, please comment down below and let's talk about it, because I'm ready. Because there's absolutely no justification for that disgusting type of behavior. He murdered this man. A man that was not resisting arrest, a man that was willing to go peacefully, cool, sort everything out, and he killed him. That man will never breathe again. He is gone. So anyway, like I said, because of George's case, obviously black people are tired, and they said enough is enough, and they started protesting. There has been some looting, there's been riots, you know. They burnt Target up. They burnt Target up. Like, Target was on fire, you know. They were burning a few other buildings, some large corporations, some small businesses. One thing I will say to all my black people, or to any, like, if you are, or to any people protesting right now or rioting, please do not harm black owned businesses. Please do not wreck them. Please, it's very important you don't. I understand your anger, I understand your pain, and I stand with you 110%, but please do not destroy black owned businesses. It's very important for us to redistribute wealth into our community, and that's something I'm very passionate about. So please don't be doing that. And I just find it funny how outrage in regards to protesting and looting and rioting only occurs when the people doing the protesting and looting and rioting are black people. Just a few weeks ago, was it not, some of the American people, they took up their guns and stuff and they were protesting ending the lockdown, but nobody was calling them venomous, violent thugs that had to be stopped. You know, no one was insulting them, no one was giving as much criticism as now, because the people doing it weren't black, they were white people. No one had complaints now, but oh, now suddenly you want to complain because it's black people doing this, and they are protesting, looting, rioting for a much more noble cause than ending a lockdown prematurely in a global pandemic. But now you have a problem with it because it's black people trying to protest for the rights of black lives. Even if you want to go with the stupid all lives matter narrative, even if you want to argue on the all lives matter stance, if all lives matter, then do black lives not matter as well? So why do you have such a problem with it? All lives truly do matter. Why do you want to come and choke and die when we are advocating for the rights of black people? If you are a liberalist, remember, one man cannot be free until all men are free. Man cannot be free until all men are free, yeah? If you claim you're for liberty, if you claim you're for freedom, if you claim you're for peace, just remember that, please. And if you think about it, like, how do you think slavery ended? I saw a lot of this on Twitter and it was making me laugh, but it's not funny. The slaves did not sit down until Master said one day, okay, y'all can go now. I'm tired of y'all. That's not how it happened. There were so many rebellions happening. Like Haitian Rebellion, that is... if you don't know about that, definitely Google it. Haitian Rebellion was the only rebellion in the entire slave trade. They were given their freedom because they took it by force. They didn't wait for anybody to give it to them. And as a country, I mean, as a people, they are the only ones that did that successfully. I read up about it the other day. Like, I've always known about it, but I did like excessive research. Like, I read loads of information about it. You know, they took it back by force. Even Harriet Tubman is not the peaceful black woman that white media has portrayed her to be. She carried around a strap, okay, that she used, mind you. She carried it around. She definitely used it. She was with the Union, you know, and the Union were using violence too. From the beginning, there have been slave uprisings everywhere, you know, people that they fought for their freedom even if they had to die for it. That's how they got shit done, okay? That's why slavery ended, because of the hundreds, thousands of sacrifices that slaves made to stand up against their white oppressors, okay? Thank you very much. The suffragette movement, they were protests and riots, and how did that end out? Oh wait, women have the vote, women have the right to vote, women have the right to work. I didn't see any criticisms of that. No. Why is it now that black people are trying to just fight for the rights? All we want is to be able to live and have the rights that everyone else has. We want those afforded to us too. Why is it now you have criticisms on looting and riots and protesting, peaceful protesting? Like I've just seen so many. First of all, no one wants your unsolicited opinion. You're not black, I don't know why you're talking. I don't know why you're talking, but I've just seen so many things and opinions, and I'm just thinking, black people have been peaceful for how many years, and as a result we have kept getting killed. We keep getting killed. When we're peaceful, we are killed. And now that we're becoming violent, this is not the way to resolve things. Tell us, please tell us, gatekeeper of resolving issues and conflicts, come and inform us. How do we go about this? How do we stop racism once and for all? Since you have all the answers, saying that this is not the way, misquoting Martin Luther King, when his own children have come to tell you that this is not what my father believed in or taught. You're coming to fight his own kids. No, this is what Martin Luther King stood for. Well, guess what? He was protesting peacefully, and what happened? They killed him. He's dead. He can't say anything else. You know why? Because you killed him. So what is the way we're supposed to go about things? So I don't think you have any right as a white person. In fact, if you're not black, I don't think you have a right to come and police how black people deal with our trauma and our pain. And that's the truth. Nothing works. We protest peacefully. Nothing changes. We still get killed. At least this way now they are listening, aren't they? They are listening. They are paying attention. People were saying, oh my gosh, burning down Target, this wasn't the right way to go about things. But the CEO of Target, he came out to say, like, listen, I've got millions and millions, I can replace that building. And it's true. What a large corporation, he can replace that building like that. Don't worry about that. Is one building, 10 buildings more important than the lives of black people? Please answer me that. One store, 2 stores, 5 stores, 10 stores more important than the lives of black people? Everything in there can be replaced. I'm sure they have insurance. They'll get huge cash outs. You know what can't be replaced? Life. Once it's gone, it's gone. So when I was seeing these responses, I was like, you have no right to come and police how we deal with our trauma, how we decide to respond to that trauma and pain, and how we respond to being brutalized by institutions such as the police. I also wanted to make a point in regards to looting. White people are not innocent of looting. Just go to your museums and see all the stuff that you have. How do you think you got that? Do you think we gave it to you? You stole it. You took it without permission, without asking, like you take everything. So don't come and chat shit about looting. This is how we've chosen to respond, and in my opinion, I think it is effective. Because when we protest peacefully, when we try to use the law, it doesn't work. And you need to remember, these institutions are built upon racism. How am I supposed to rely on an institution built upon racism, built to prevent people like me, people that look like me, from obtaining justice? How am I now supposed to rely on those same institutions to stop racism? If you have the answer, like I said, comment below. You don't have the answer. Do you think you're the first person to suggest, oh, peaceful protesting this, peaceful protesting this, kiniko, yeah, sign petitions? Oh yeah, I do sign petitions, yes, and I do donate, and yes, I believe, just enter some of these institutions. So for example, I'll become a lawyer so you can change these institutions from inside out. But what you need to remember is the foundations of these very institutions are already working against us. We cannot. How much change can we truly affect? Which is why the comments about the riots and the protesting and the looting was really upsetting me and really pissing me off, especially because I've seen some very stupid takes, and like I was thinking, surely you can't be that stupid. It's not as black and white as that, and for you to pretend that it is, it's just willful ignorance at this point, and I'm not here for it at all. Even here in the UK, so obviously there was a case, like I said, I'm Black British. There was a case, Belly Mujinga, I believe she works for TFL, and someone spat in her face, and as a result she died, and TFL and the government now dismissed the case because there wasn't sufficient enough evidence. So that happened. So a few days ago, and till now, there's still protests going on in the UK as well now, mostly in London, in support of our American counterparts, and also for Belly Mujinga and so many other people. Like, people always say UK racism is more covert, which it isn't. Yes, UK racism can have some microaggressions, but it's quite blatant when you take into consideration things like Windrush and Grenfell, so many things, the death and murder, the murder of Rashawn Charles. So no, UK racism isn't covert. But yes, some protesters, they went out to protest that, and one politician, I'll leave his tweet on the screen, he now said, oh, I hope these people don't blame the government when there's a second wave. Now, first of all, there was always going to be a second wave of coronavirus. Scientists have been saying this for how many weeks, months? So don't come and deceive yourself. Number two, here in the UK, a bunch of Brits, because white Brits, give them an inch and they'll take a mile. They were fed up, so they all went to Brighton. Brighton is a beach, and there was literally thousands of people on this beach, or white people on this beach, right? They're not the reason for the second wave. But now again, like I've said before, and I must reiterate, because now we've come to protest for the rights, basic human rights that should be afforded to human beings, because we've come to protest for the rights of black people, we are now going to be the causation of a second wave of coronavirus. Are you alright, bruv? Shut up. Burn in hell. Honestly, I'm so sorry, but that is ridiculous. So yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on that as well. The thing I wanted to talk about, because I was seeing this quite a lot on the internet as well, is loads of white people claiming to be allies, like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, I'm not really educated, can you educate me on this, educate me on that? It is not the job of black people to come and educate you on systematic racism and its institutions. That in fact actually reeks of white privilege, and let me tell you why. Number one, Google is free. I hope you know that Google is actually free. Like, you just type some things in and then you get literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of resources concerning the matter that you want to know more about. Reeks of white privilege, because you expect me, a black person, to come and educate you, the white person, the oppressor, the one with all the privilege, on institutions and matters concerning me, the oppressed. If you were the ally that you claim you are, you will go and do the work for yourself. I shouldn't have to come and do it for you. Clearly you don't care that much if you're asking for other people to do it for you. Educate yourself. It's not that hard. There are books, there are videos. Just type a few keywords, they will come up hundreds of thousands. of videos, hundreds of thousands of books you will find, hundreds of thousands of articles and cases you can find if you actually put in literally a bit of effort. So it's not black people's job to come and educate you on racism and its institutions and the Black Lives Matter movement. And at this point, if you're claiming you don't know what these things are, you're just being lazy, you're lying, or like I said, you don't really care that much. So ask yourself, if you're one of those people that has been asking other black people to educate you, I want you to really sit down and ask yourself, do I care as much as I think I care? Am I the ally I thought I was? Have I done enough to read up, to clue up myself about racism, race, matters concerning race, and institutions? Another thing I want to talk about, people's silence has been deafening, and I will be calling you out. There were a few big booktubers that I actually watch and enjoy their content that didn't say anything, and I was, like I said, it's sad because nothing surprises me, but like, you didn't say anything at all. They were just tweeting normally about books or, you know, their new videos or whatever, when there's literally this huge issue concerning black people being killed and murdered, and injustice was everywhere, and you didn't say a word because you felt uncomfortable. Oh, poor baby. Because talking about race and white privilege, it makes you uncomfortable. If this has only been going on for a week, if you can't handle hearing about race and injustice and police brutality against black people for a week and a bit, imagine how we feel. Imagine how tired we are. We have to do it every single day. I'm sorry you're so lucky you can ignore it every day because it doesn't directly affect you. Well, it affects me, and it affects people that look like me every single day. Like I said, your silence is deafening. I know who you are. You have been subsequently unfollowed, unsubscribed, because I have no interest in supporting people, supporting creators, supporting businesses, people and corporations, institutions. I have no business supporting those people that don't support people that look like me. Okay? Some influencers, some celebrities, some people, you love profiting off of black culture. You love it. You love appropriating black culture. You love putting in your braids, doing this, doing that. You love wearing African attire, wearing your carnival clothes, doing every single black hairstyle under the sun. You like having sex with black men. You like having sex with black women, fetishizing black people. Yes, you love it. Leeching off the culture, making your money off the culture. But now when it comes to speaking out to protect the people that create the culture, that create black culture, to protect black people, you are silent. It just goes to show how our lives are only important in regards to profiting off of us, profiting off of our culture. We are not important as a people. We're only important because of what we can offer, what we give, and that is it. You have nothing to say, no? Can't speak for the people. The same culture that you love off, that you leech off of, that you profit off of, that you make money off of, that you take away from black people doing the same thing. You take away their coin, but you make money doing it, appropriating off of black culture. You can't speak on the Black Lives Matter movement. For those of you that don't know and have been stewing in your ignorance for 6 years, the Black Lives Matter is a human rights movement that was founded in 2013. It campaigns against violence and systematic racism against black people. Briefly explain what the Black Lives Matter movement is there for you. If you still want to know more about it, like I said, Google is free. I just find it funny how white people feel so inconvenienced, you know, by black trauma and black people's pain and black people's suffering. I saw quite a few booktubers as well saying, you know, oh, and white people in general, but I don't speak about, but in particular booktubers, you know, oh, I don't speak about politics on my page. That's why I haven't, you know, retweeted anything about the Black Lives Matter movement or the George Floyd case, blah, 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 blah. First of all, I believe if you don't have a stance on, I'm not saying you have to care about every single political issue, but there's certain political issues, if you don't have a stance on, you're a weak bitch. and you don't stand for anything. And word to Hamilton, if you stand for nothing, what will you fall for? How can you not stand for anything? Secondly, politics. This is the issue of a life, of someone's life. So what, you're trying to say you have no regard for black lives? That's what I took from that. You have no regard for black lives. You, black lives do not in fact matter. Say that with your chest if that's what you mean. Don't come and chat nonsense about you don't retweet politics. How convenient. How convenient is that? There was this other booktube, I think her name was Laurie's Books or something. She was expressing some of the most idiotic opinions I think I've ever come across in my life, which is saying something because I've heard quite a few idiotic things. She was like talking about how she doesn't agree with the way the issue is being approached, blah blah blah, which is why she wasn't retweeting things about George and the Black Lives Matter movement. And obviously she started doing it, but it was very performative because she didn't want to get cancelled. But even then she was still expressing some very stupid views, and I was just disgusted, to be honest. And then she now tried to profit again, trying to profit off of black trauma, black pain. She wanted to hold a giveaway, and the terms and conditions for this giveaway, so the giveaway was for books by black authors. You had to be following her. So you're trying to profit off of this and grow your following over black trauma, black pain. I was expressing the stupid opinions that you were expressing. My dear, you are a clown. Agbaya, that's what you are, you're an agbaya. Obviously, because of this, there have been a lot of discussions as to what an ally is, true allyship, and what constitutes an ally, a white ally. And to me, an ally is someone that does not try to speak over the voices of black people, but promotes them. An ally doesn't come in with their 2 pence about how black people should be dealing with their trauma, how people should respond. Black people should respond to us being brutalized. An ally is somebody that just boosts our voices, gives their support wherever they can. Not just a quick retweet here and there, that actively actually tries to boost the movement. They donate, they constantly educate themselves about concerning race and their privilege. An ally is someone that acknowledges their privilege and tries to use it to do good. For example, I saw a video of this girl, and these people are probably in high school, you know, sorry we don't call it that here, in high school, and they were at protest, you know, and these police officers were closing in on this black boy, and he was probably still in high school too, and you could tell she looked scared, she looked terrified, you know, that these officers, they were intimidating her, but still she did not budge, she did not leave the boy's side, you know, she was protecting him with her body. And I was like, good, that's how you use your privilege, because she knew the way they would handle her and deal with her is not the way they would handle the black boy. It's how you use your privilege in a positive way. You use it to help out black people and lift up black people wherever you can. There's so many ways you can be a better ally, like I said. But yeah, for me, mainly an ally is someone that doesn't drown out the voices of black people, that uplifts them, doesn't put in their own 2 pence, and tries to use their white privilege in a way that elevates black people. In regards to booktube and racism, like any white dominated space, I knew that there was racism in booktube. However, in terms of community, I've only recently like got proper, and even then not really properly like immersed myself into the booktube community. Since this case come out, people have really showed their asses, and I've seen a lot of things that is ridiculous. Like I said, before pressure was being applied, a lot of booktubers that have quite a big following that were not using their platform to lift up the Black Lives Matter movement and promote it and talk about George Floyd. So I remember Sasha Alsberg for a long time, like a few days she didn't say anything until she was called out, and then she retweeted a few things or whatever. And then there was Reagan from the Percy Project, who has now said something, and I followed these two, and I was just like, you know what a big following you have, you couldn't say anything until prompted. No. And it had been a while since the case had happened at this point, like really there were some other smaller booktubers that I don't really know the name because I don't follow them, that were just expressing some ridiculous views. There's a video by a booktuber, I think it's like, I don't know their name, but they're a drag queen, I believe they're drag queen, and they uploaded a video about why they don't support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I was just like, this is so fucking ridiculous. Or maybe, and there was another girl, I forgot her name, I will find it and put it in the video. She uploaded a video under the guise, she's now taken down the video by the way, under the guise of supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, and then basically in the video made it all about her and her white pride and her white guilt and her white tears. And she's since taken down the video and is now basically saying that black people are bullying her, etc, etc, just talking utter nonsense. And I'm just actually genuinely, I'm exhausted, tired of hearing of another black person being killed every single day, of another black person being harassed every single day, of being faced with racism and abuse and brutalization and violence. When will it stop? Tell me. Like, I'm just so tired. And I was just seeing some really ridiculous things within the booktube community, and I was just like, ew. Like, I was actually genuinely disgusted, and I was like, honestly, I was thinking, this is not a community I want to be a part of. But then there's nowhere in the world that is safe for a black person. A white booktuber, go read a book. Maybe you should do that. Like, or there was another girl, like, she basically said she was going to read books by black authors for a month, and then she basically was halfway through reading one, and then she was like, it's too sad, and then she started reading, I don't know, I think Crescent City or something. She said it made her sad, it made her cry, and it was too serious. I'm sorry it made you cry, Karen. Well, guess what, that is black people's reality every single day. That is what they have to face. That is real life. Another thing with booktube, another issue I want to mention, you love Divergent, yeah? You love the Hunger Games, you love that one. I know you love that one. You love Children of Blood and Bone, yeah? What do all the stories I just said have in common? They have in common, there are groups of people, oppressed people, and there's a rebellion, there's a revolution, and the oppressed finally rise up against their oppressors and take back what is theirs. You love that one, don't you? You love those kind of stories. You love it off. Look at the success of the Hunger Games and Divergent and Children of Blood and Bones speaks for itself. You guys love those kind of stories. But now it's happening in real life. Now that the oppressed are rising against the oppressor and fighting for their freedom, are rebelling against the oppressor for their rights. You don't like that one. No, you don't like that one. But you love Katniss, innit? That's your girl. That is your bit. Yes, you love Katniss. You love, innit? You love Triss, innit? Eat the rich. Eat the rich. Yes. Yes, rebel. Fight for your rights. But now that black people are fighting for their rights, you're real silent, innit? Oh, it's too violent. Oh my God. It says a lot about you, doesn't it? So if you're one of those people that loves off those stories, you love the Hunger Games, you love Divergent, you love Children of Blood and Bone, but you have an issue with the rioting, the protests, the looting, and remember why these things are happening. It's not for fun. We're not doing it for fun. No, we're doing it because we, you know, another black person was killed and we said enough is enough. We want justice. We want the rights afforded to everyone else but us. You don't support that. So if you like those books, but you think that what's happening right now is wrong, you need to check yourself, sweetie. You love The Hate You Give. It was so real. You learned so much about injustice and racism, but you're real quiet now. Also, if The Hate You Give is the only book you read about injustice, you need to check yourself as well. And this goes for me too, because I made a vow this year I was gonna start reading more non-fiction books about race and racism and black feminism, because I watch a lot of videos, I do a lot of research in regards to these issues, but I'm a reader, so I was like, I'm gonna read more books, and so should you. Fiction doesn't do the job. Like, yes, fiction can be very informative, but we also need to read non-fiction too. Like I said, some of you seem to forget that we are living in the real world, sweetie. So go read some non-fiction, okay? Another thing I also quickly want to say is talking about the white people that are using these protests as an opportunity to live out their Joker / anarchy fantasy. What you are doing, number one, is that everything you do, all the destruction you wreak, will be blamed on black people. I hope you know that. It won't be blamed on you, it'll be blamed on black people. Made out to be violent, destructive thugs, and absolutely no blame will be placed upon you. So stop it. Like, literally stop it. Out to live out some anarchist fantasy, it actually hurts the Black Lives Matter movement. It takes away from the severity of the issue. It's fun and games for you, it's very much real for black people. So like I said, if that's what you're using these protests as an opportunity to do, stop it. Disgusting pictures of girls going out like influencers and using the wreckage, the damage of the protests and stuff to be doing aesthetic on Instagram. No, like, absolutely not. Again, profiting off of what? Black trauma and black pain. I wanted to end this video by recommending some books you can read. So there is Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo-Lodge. I actually read this, I think it was last year, or was it earlier this year? I don't know. I borrowed it from Libby and I'm actually gonna buy it now. Buy the physical copy. I read it and it was absolutely fucking brilliant. I also recommend Race and Class in the Ruins of the Empire, and that is by Akala. Akala is a black British man. He's absolutely fucking brilliant. Like, he's amazing. If you don't feel like reading, you can go and watch some of his talks on YouTube. Just type in Akala Race, or you know, just type in Akala and you will see he is absolutely brilliant. He is so well spoken, he's so articulate. Like, he articulates points that I want to, and I can never do it how he does it. Like, he does it so well. There's also Race by Toni Morrison, and anything by Toni Morrison actually I recommend. And obviously there's also Angela Davis, who is a black feminist, womanist. Bell Hooks I recommend. You know, these are more so about intersectional feminism, which is still important. And then obviously I'm currently reading Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. And yeah, so those are, I've read Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race, which is why I can recommend that. Akala's one actually got halfway through, or more than halfway through, and I haven't finished it yet, but from what I remember, it was, again, very informative, and I learned a lot and I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to be picking it up again soon. And Toni Morrison, her works are brilliant, and I'm currently reading Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. If you know any other books about race, black feminism, womanism, you know, about racism, please comment down below. I would love to read them. I want to really at least be reading at least 2 non-fiction books a month now, and like I said before in one of my other videos, I think it's our job to inform ourselves and educate ourselves, especially me as a black woman. These things do affect me quite directly and the people around me, and I believe it is my duty to get clued up on them. If you're claiming you're an ally, if you claim to care about black lives at all, I think it's also important for you to inform yourself about these issues. So please do comment down below if you have any book recommendations for me, any maybe videos, podcasts, anything. Please let me know. I hope that someone took something away from this video, that you learned something. I hope I did the topic justice. I hope I explained things coherently and I did it well. If you sat through this video, because I know it's a long one, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you hopefully on a happier note in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.